erect a barrier that will visually not make some of those things so visible to the residents. There are some things that were brought to my attention, the presence perhaps of some unwanted four-legged people, not people, but unwanted four-legged things. So we will certainly address that. Beyond the barrier and the four-legged things, we'll work with the EPA. That business certainly should not, cannot, will not be allowed to bring in those things that are hazardous to people, and we'll work with everything that we have to prevent that. In terms of what was there before, we know that there was a huge facility there before. That facility has been demolished, and as things of that size get demolished, sometimes it does take a while to remove the materials that made up the former building. So we certainly will press for the timeline on that. So again, it's not a perfect situation. It's one that is in flux. We do have what I believe at that site to be a decent owner and a business that is somewhat reputable, that is reputable and wants to remain reputable. And the only way that they can remain reputable is by doing right by the residents and working with the city. So we'll certainly do that. There was a comment made earlier that the individual to whom that property was sold for the purpose of having this business has since sold the property. That's not true.
Okay.
So the person, the business to whom that property was sold is occupying it with the business that was intended to be there. Council, you may remember that this was a piece of property that came to the city after several years of unsuccessfully trying to sell it. The state of Ohio owned it. Cuyahoga County owned it. It had been in tax foreclosure for several years. It was non-revenue generating. It was dilapidating, and something needed to be done. Similar to the Eddy Road site, we as a city, mayor and council agreed that we ought to use those assets to generate revenue and to bring businesses into the city. We brought before council a proposal to sell that piece of land for this purpose, and council approved of that. So as we operate as two branches of government and we work together on these things, council, we assure you that we're going to do our best to make that business not have us regret the decision that we made jointly, and certainly appreciate your partnership in that.
Mr. Mayor, I want to say I appreciate your comments. And there was a instance where someone in administration told us that it had been sold, and
No.
and I'm glad it's not, because now we can get, you can take care of the gentleman, because he's not doing what we passed a resolution for him to do. And when I was talking earlier with Ms. Hemmings, the law director, I want every avenue taken to make sure that this gentleman understands that East Cleveland will not stand for him to take anything for granted, nor our people for granted. And I want to see everything that you can do legally, even if it means dragging him into court and doing what is necessary to be done if it's illegal for him to do the things he's doing. And from what I hear, it is illegal. And my people out here are saying that they're getting all kind of respiratory problems. I got a lady called me last night around 10 o'clock and told me she has a respiratory problem and she had to get out of her house. And I think that's ridiculous. And we all, yeah, like you said, we voted on this as a together, and I'm glad you said that. So together we can try to make a difference down there, because our people are looking for that. And I appreciate your comments, but I want more. I want action.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Report to council committees?
I thought you wanted Andy.
Yeah, let's do Andy.
Yeah,
let's do Andy.
Yes, we have. His name is Andrew.
Okay.
And Andrew is from the Cleveland Police Task Force. And he does environmental business.
Right. I'm actually from the Cuyahoga County Environmental Crime Task Force.
Okay.
Can I say something before Andy
Yes.
gets started? Saturday,
Keep it short.
yeah, very short.
Okay.
Saturday, stand there, it only will take a minute. Mr. Ezo, Sergeant Ezo, we were at the library and we discussed the situation on Noble Road. Andy has some experience in this field, so I asked him to come to this meeting. I've also been in contact with the citizens that are concerned with the Ohio EPA and with the Cuyahoga Board of Health. So he has expertise in this field. So thank you for allowing him to speak. Take it over, Andy. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me. I
All
really
right.
appreciate being
Okay.
here. You know, situations like Noble Road, situations like what's going on in Eddy, council can always be blamed, because what happens, and I know the council president mentioned it, that paperwork and an idea was brought in front of them, and that's what they had to vote on. Then what happens is people like what's going on in Noble Road is these people come in there and they change the plans and they basically do what we want, or what they want. And what happened in the city of Cleveland on several occasions is places similar to this opened up. They brought a lot of debris there and they left it picked up, and then the city of Cleveland and the citizens are responsible for it now. They're the one who's going to have to pay the cleanup. And that's what we don't want to see here. And this is the reason the Cuyahoga County Environmental Crime Task Force was formed. And it started just over a year ago, or almost 2 years ago now. I was OIC of the 5th District, which is very close to here. And we got a case over there, which is known as the Acme site. And the Acme site, the guy's name was Christopher Gatterillo. What he did was he told a gentleman that he wanted to come there and recycle his trash. Basically, to make a long story short, he put 100,000 tons of trash in there and picked up a lot.
Oh my goodness.
There's still 80,000 tons left in that location, and we're still going back and forth in court trying to get somebody to pay for it. And we don't want to see that happen anyplace else. That's the reason that the task force was formed. The laws that we work under, the 3734 code of the ORC, they've never been brought to county courts before within the state of Ohio. There's been a lot of civil cases, but criminal cases are few and far between. So we're writing the book on this. We're writing a case law. We're doing it a way that nobody else has done it before. So I'm here today to explain at Noble Road. I've been doing interviews up and down that street, and I know that there's people that's been living there for over 40 years. And there's no reason in the world that those people should have to live with what's going on over there. There's no reason. That was, at one time, was a factory that was up and running, that they could look out their back door and see there was cars parked in a lot and people wandering around, and now you look out your back door and you see a pile of trash.
Yes.
And that's sad. And that's what we don't want to see. We don't want to see it on Noble Road. We don't want to see it on Eddy. We don't want to see it anywhere. In East Cleveland or Cuyahoga County or Cleveland. It doesn't matter. That's why we were formed, and that's what we're here to do, is to stop this from happening. Now, I had a conversation with a gentleman from the EPA about a month or so ago. He was at the site at Noble Road in July when there was nothing on the property. That was the last time he was at the site until I talked to him, actually until the news story came out. He told me that he had the same feeling that I did, that this gentleman was going to pile trash and pile trash and pile trash, as he calls it, C&D or construction debris, and pile it, and he was going to pick up and leave. And so I asked him, what are you going to do about it? And he told me they can't do anything until they leave. And I says, I'm not going to stand for that, because that's not what we're here for. So the news story came out, the EPA was out there, the Cuyahoga County Health Department was out there, and they gave them a clean bill of health. Now why they did that, I can't understand. All right? But in the meantime, I was fortunate enough to sit down with the EPA, sit down with the assistant director out there in Twinsburg, and we reopened the case. And so it's a continuous investigation going on at the Noble Road site. And we're going to see where we go with it. So I'm doing, believe me, I live within the city of Cleveland, and I don't want to see stuff like this going on in my city, and I don't want to see it going on in anybody else's city. You know, I have a passion for this, and you have my word. I'm going to do whatever I can to make it right, because what they're doing over there is wrong.
We appreciate you coming, and we appreciate you telling us what's going on. And I am concerned, as anyone else here, a lot of us. I mean, we have not only dumping down there, and I'm continuously talking about it. Howard, the street of Howard, looked like somebody that bombed it. And I was telling my vice president, Mr. Wheeler, if we can go out here and get some of these contractors, these big trucks, to come in and move some of the debris and take it to the dumping station and do something with it. So we're working on that, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the task force and you, and for coming here and letting us know. And I also appreciate my colleague, Mr. Martin, who asked for room on this council for you to be heard. And it wasn't hard for me to say yes, because we got a lot of problems, and I don't want one of our individuals, Dan, to get blamed for something or be associated with it, even though he has trash, but his trash is different trash. I don't know how you decipher that, but it's different. Moving right along so we can get out of here.
Council President, I just wanted to raise
Yes.
a couple of issues. The research I did, very briefly. Number one, the corporation on Noble Road is Rock Industries.
Yeah.
And they got the title was transferred May 1st. And I don't know, and this is my question to the council and to our legal person, do they have to come before, now that they own the property, before the Board of Zoning Appeals and Architecture Review Board? That was a question that came up when I was looking at the minutes. Okay, and you know about all the complaints. I just want to say to the about 15 to 20 citizens that were at the library, Andy, complaining about it, and then I left the library and went back over there and looked at it, and it's horrible. All kind of stuff was over there. It was raining that day, but it's horrible, and there'll be something we must do. I also spoke with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, and they said they're going to send someone out tomorrow again, because they said you need to come look at that site. Or I think what you said, and all they can do is do a citation, and I don't know if that's enough, but that they said they've been getting a lot of calls on this particular situation at Noble Road.
Good.
Okay, this council is going to do what's the best thing is for the people, and they need to know that. Thank you, Council President. Okay.
Moving right along, we have the reports of council committees.
Briefly, I had a meeting today, and I'll just go right through it. We dealt with layoffs, separation from the city. We talked about the situation where the kid was killed by a suspended licensed driver. That came up. We talked about the staffing, police, and staffing in the fire. That was the essence of the meeting. Thank you. That concludes my report, Madam Chairman.
Mr. King?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. One report. I'd like everyone to join me this Friday, 3 to 5 at 13308 Euclid. We'll be doing a food pantry. We'll be handing out fresh fruits and vegetables. Again, that's 13308 Euclid. It's right across the street from Popeyes. 3 to 5 this Friday. Thank you.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Wheeler, you want to forego your committee meeting? Mr. Wheeler was very, very sick, and I took over his meeting, but I don't like to give a report on somebody else. I will bring him up to speed, and at the next meeting, Councilor Wheeler will deal with his meeting. As far as the Finance Committee, there will be a commission meeting tomorrow at the library, and I hope as many of you all that are sitting here tonight come tomorrow. It'll be at 1 o'clock, and you will see what the finances are and how the city is being managed. I got one little thing, because everybody is talking about critters, and I did mention critter control today. We used to have critter control, and it was under the police, but due to the financial strife that we're in, we had to do away with any and everything that was extra. and that meant we had to pay critter control, the people that did it, and they haven't been paid. So actually, I want everybody to know about critter control. And Mr. Wheeler, is that he Sergeant? Is it Sergeant Wheeler? Captain Wheeler was saying the only critters that they deal with now are big critters like deers and everything else. But the little groundhogs and everything else can run loose and you have to take care of them yourself. Unfortunately, one run across my street the other day, just like he owned it, which he did, because there was nothing I could do. But if you do have some critter control come out there through the county or somewhere, you're going to have to pay it. He said he will try to help you, show you how to catch these critters, but I'm not in the business of catching critters. So as far as the report goes, that's all I have to report. Our next is the remarks of the public, and you will have, it'll be 15 minutes.
Those who want to voice their situation, now's the time. If you want to voice your situation, now's the time to do it.
What is it, 10 minutes?
It's 15 minutes total. Once I get to the 15-minute time limit, if you're in line or not, that's it. Doesn't matter.
Charles Holmes.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Mr. Holmes, go.
Who?
I'm sorry.
Oh, man. They do look alike.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
Brother.
One,
You two brothers?
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3. Mr. O'May.
Well, once we get to the 15-minute time limit, even if you're in line or not, sir, it's
Give your name, your address, and you must live in the city of East Cleveland.
Now reset the Calvi.
I haven't even started it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Now,
One second, point of order. Council President, I thought that there was concerns that it had to be addressed with Tracy. Tracy has to leave tonight, don't she?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I got to go. She's got to go.
all right.
Can you just postpone this to the next meeting?
No.
No.
Come on, let's go.
Oh, man, yo.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ready. Number one, I take exception, and some folks found it funny. I didn't find it funny at all when the mayor alluded to the four-legged people, and then he changed it to, I guess, animals or what have you. I didn't find it funny at all, and I don't think it was he misspoke. She said that. I don't know. It's ridiculous. You're getting $1 million to tear down our city. What are you doing to get money to bring in to rehab and do, etc.? You can get money to tear down, but you can't get money to rehab. And that's a blatant, to me, it's blatant disrespect for this city. And then you sit up here and allow that. What are you doing to bring money in here to rehab or what have you?
Are you going to?
Then the building, every building in the city or every contractor or every business that do business in the city is under the auspices of the city. And then you sit here and say, well, what can we do? You can do a whole lot. If anybody violates the law in the city, they are brought into court. So you have that right to bring anyone in here that's dumping in our city. And if that was not what was on the legislation, then if they're doing something contrary to that, then you have that right, unless somebody gave them other authority without this council voting on it, because that's what the law requires. So I don't know, it really troubles me. And it appears that we don't have no plan for the city except we want to merge, annexation or what have you, and then we're sitting here allowing administration, I'll just put it, I don't bite my tongue, the administration to continue to just prepare our city for annexation. Nobody coming up with a plan. He has not presented a plan to you, and you ask for it. That's derelict of responsibility. That's give grounds for either he brought up on charges or removed as a mayor. That's what he is bound to do and mandated to do.
Council-
Sit here like-
Council President,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to leave.
I'm sorry, but we're going to have to, close this meeting. She's got to go, her family member is going in under surgery. Mr. Wheeler came in and he's got the flu. Martin is already gone. So please, I tell you.
No, I promise.
Y'all should have been doing less talking before. People can't express their concern.
That's right, you have a right to that.
This don't make sense.
Well, I will
I'll stand
have
around and
a
listen to you
clerk.
guys, if you want me to stand around and listen to you.
For what?
We could still,
What we want to listen for? You.
I said I would listen to you.
Huh?
I would listen to you. I'll stand around and listen if you.
Yeah, listening and doing is two different
still gotta
things.
go.
You know, I mean, if it was
Okay,
left to me, I
alright.
can do all of
I
it.
can't do it sitting here.
Huh?
I can't do it.
Pardon me, Mr. Hall. She said
You
that
can
she
still
would.
let it go and we can still get back to you. I can still sit here
She
like a
done lost the
tape.
quorum. I don't have it.
I'm getting a little tired now, a little aggravated.
You don't have a quorum.
Something needs to be done.
I don't have a
Makes
quorum.
sense.
I think left.
I have business.
So this meeting is
Leave the
closed.
crowd. That's it.
But if there's questions that you can answer, if you give me your questions, I will make sure that they are responded to. I'll write them down right now. And I will make sure it's fully responded to.
Wait a minute. Well, okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I will make sure. I promise. You know I do get back to you.
I don't know about that.
That I never have to fight that.
This meeting is over.
Yeah, but if you give me, I will get back, I will get back to you.
How you doing? All right. Hey, you got some flyers? You got the flyers for Saturday?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I made the call to win.
No, I've been
You can print some out, knock some bleachers somewhere or
okay,
something.
I can do that.
You can do that? I got your number.
You got my number?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll
because
call
I
you.
just printed those off this morning.
Okay.
Let me close.
I said,